Hello again, YouTube. I'm making a quick video here, like 10 minutes or so, hopefully, to show you guys how you can get shredded completely by March this year. This is the method that I use every single year after I am done bulking or putting on mass, whatever. I'll use this and structure my diet around this to lose weight as fast as possible, just to get in shape so I can look good during the summer. So step one, obviously, is going to be go to the gym. I'm sure if you're watching this, you already do that, but you're wondering how you can lose the weight that you have on your body currently. So outside of going to the gym, the thing that's going to be doing the heavy lifting here, 90% of the work is going to be your diet. This is what's going to be responsible for making sure that you actually have a good looking physique. And getting rid of the fat. There's no weird thing that you can do like cardio or some gimmick of some sort of diet like keto or some pill or cleanse or something to get rid of body fat or drop weight. None of that shit fucking works. The only thing that works is going to be a calorie deficit. I'm going to explain the exact steps here rather than just eat less. If you're watching this, I'm assuming that you don't know your maintenance calories. Your maintenance calories is basically how many calories do you expend on a daily basis. Quick example for myself here, I'm 190 pounds and I'm eating 4,000 calories a day. That is what keeps me at this weight. Let's say you want to lose weight. So if you want to figure out your maintenance, you need to figure out how much you're actually moving during the day. This is by far the most important thing to consider here. If you're moving not really at all during the day, say you're moving like 2,000 steps, then set an easy goal, just a movement goal to hit. You don't have to do a bunch of fucking cardio or anything like that, but you do want to be hitting a consistent movement goal. If you're hitting like 2,000 steps a day, you want to kick that up to around 8 to 10,000. That's very easily attainable. That's like 30 minutes on the treadmill, or if you want to do like a quick like hour-long walk, you will hit it immediately. So get a hold of actually how much you're moving. Next, you're going to input this information into a calorie calculator that I put up on the screen showing you guys how to actually fill this out. But you're basically just going to take your age, your sex, and your height, and as well as like that movement goal that we talked about, assessing how active you are throughout the day. And it's going to give you a quick estimate of your maintenance calories. Again, this is an estimate. This is not precise. This is like a quick roadmap or something to follow for the first few weeks. But you're going to take this estimate and then base your calories and your macros off of this calorie estimate that the calculator has given you. The absolute bare minimum is you're going to stick to this calorie intake for 2 weeks so we can tell what you need to do and what needs to be adjusted. When you are creating these macros and these calories based off of this estimate, the main thing you want to prioritize is going to be protein because you're trying to cut weight. So we want to make sure that we are not losing any sort of muscle mass. So make sure you're hitting your protein at least a gram per pound of body weight. And the next thing that I would start to fill in with is going to be carbs, because carbs are your body's main source of fuel, and then just go ahead and fill the rest in with fat. But you still want to be taking a few considerations in with fat, because fat is going to be what is managing your hormones. It'll be responsible for things like your overall mood as well as how you're sleeping. And if you're getting shitty sleep and if you're in a bad mood, it is actually going to affect your physique quite a bit, especially the sleeping part. If you're not recovering, then you can't really have an intense workout, and it's going to make it pretty difficult to keep the muscle mass that you have worked so hard for on. So you do start getting some shitty sleep and a bad mood, then all you gotta do is just trade out some carbs for some fats, and that should fix things. But let's take a look at this 2-week period here. Scale starts to go up after this 2-week period. What do? We start to decrease calories. The recommendation, in my opinion, is like 200 calories at a time. So if the scale starts to go up, then drop your calories to 100 and then wait another week. If it doesn't move at all, then you can decrease a little bit more until you start to see the scale start to go down rather than going up. And if the scale doesn't move at all after the 2-week period, like you're the same weight, again, decrease calories about 200. And if you're losing weight, then that's great. Keep it up. And then once you stop losing weight, then you can either decrease calories a little bit around like 150 to 200 again. Or you can add in some cardio. All this comes down to math. I'm an engineer, so I want to be able to calculate everything and have a straightforward answer on how to actually do things. So 1 pound of fat is equal to 3,500 calories. So if you're looking at things on a 7-day period or a 1-week period, to lose 1 pound of fat per week, then you need to be in a 500 calorie deficit. So if you find your maintenance and you then go into 200 to 300 calorie deficit, then you're going to lose about ½ pound to 0.75 pounds per week based off of that caloric intake. And that's why it's so important to have a consistent diet that you're sticking to. I want to be sticking to this just because of stuff like water and sodium, carbs, sleep, stress, stuff like that. It'll make the daily scale weight kind of fluctuate based off of those variables. So you want to be looking at things overall on a weekly basis. Take the average of the week of your weight and then compare it to previous weeks. Based off of all this data on how you feel as well as the weights, then you can adjust as needed. Always be weighing yourself with consistent conditions. So when I wake up in the morning, first thing I do is just take my fucking sweatpants off, walk to the scale, use the bathroom, and then weigh myself in the exact same outfit, as well as after using the bathroom every single day, so the conditions are consistent. So now that we know how to lose weight, I want to get into what your diet should actually look like, because you want your food that you're eating to be enjoyable. You don't want it to feel like an actual diet, because that defeats the point of dieting. You want it to be sustainable. You don't want it to be something that you don't look forward to. You want to look forward to eating your meals while losing weight and looking good, being able to enjoy the things that you're doing on a day-to-day basis. And that's how I'm able to sustain a physique like this for such a long period of time, because over years and years of experience, I've mastered enjoyable meals, stuff that I like, that I know works for me, keeps me full while being able to sustain a very low calorie diet to have a low body fat percentage. So when formatting a diet and a meal plan, this is exactly what I do for myself as well as clients. Step one is you're going to want to find foods that you enjoy eating. These are going to be the staples of your diet that you're going to want to include in each one of your meals, so you constantly have something that you can look forward to. And if you don't have experience in this, that's totally fine. It's just going to be a little bit of trial and error for a little bit until you find a meal that you really enjoy, and you can stick to that for quite a while. If I'm being honest, I've been eating like the same fucking food for like 3 years at this point. So that's step one. Find things that you like and include that in your diet. And step two, this is personal preference, but I personally like to go to high volume foods because I enjoy food so much. I could be the fattest motherfucker on this planet. I tell everybody that all the time. I love eating, I stress eat, and I constantly want to feel full. I feel like being hungry is like the worst feeling in the entire world. So I go for high volume foods and low calorie foods. It looks like including vegetables with every meal. If you don't want to hear that, then grow the fuck up. I don't fucking know what to tell you. Vegetables are great because they don't only add volume to your food, but they also add fiber. So on top of the added volume, like you're actually physically consuming more food, you're also getting fiber, which is a big contributor to actually feeling full. Like number one go-to for high fiber, low calorie food is just zucchini. Like I'll just put it in, if I'm having some sort of rice meal, I'll throw it in with that. I'll even put it in with pasta sometimes. Like I know it sounds fucking gross, but I like the amount of volume that I'm able to have. But outside of just high volume, brute force kind of foods, you do want to stick to high satiety foods. So stuff like potatoes, for example. Potatoes are one of, or if not the highest satiety food on like the food, whatever the fuck scale thing. So this is why like on a cut or something, you're going to choose potatoes over rice, because potatoes are going to take longer to digest. You're going to be fuller for longer, versus if you're bulking, you want to be able to consume more food, so you want easily digestible foods. So stuff like rice will go right through you. And then here are some other examples of stuff that you can do if weight loss kind of starts to stall. So the number one thing obviously is going to be to add in cardio. I know some people don't really want to hear that, but that's just part of the game, bro. It doesn't have to be like you going on runs or something for miles and miles, or doing any sort of sprints or hit workouts, stuff like that. It's a waste of energy. You won't really want to prioritize having your energy for your lifting. That's what gives you the aesthetic look. You want the muscles, bro, and you want them to show when you lose the weight. You don't want to be exerting all your energy towards cardio. That's a fucking waste. My favorite thing to do is just put the treadmill on like an incline of around 10 and then go to like 2 to 2.5 miles per hour on there, and that'll burn a pretty decent amount of calories without really any sort of fatigue. Do that for like 30, even 40 minutes if you have the time, then you will really increase your surplus. And that is what cardio is for. It is not meant to be the sole factor for losing weight. It is not supposed to be entirely responsible for your weight loss. It is just a tool. Another option, if you want, is to do intermittent fasting. I'm not a huge fan of this. I know some people kind of like it. I will save my first meal until around 9 to 10 a.m., but that's not really like fasting. And another myth that you kind of hear about intermittent fasting is that it will burn more calories, you know, because you're in like a starved fucking state and you're hungry in the morning. It's bullshit. It's the same deal with fasted cardio. It doesn't like burn more calories because you're starving and you're hungry. All it does is just prolong your meal to later in the day, so you're able to sustain a lower calorie diet throughout the remainder of the day. Very last thing that I really want to emphasize for weight loss is that you really need to include cheat meals. This is like a once every other week thing max. Once you lose the weight and you've reached your goal, you can kind of get a little bit more loose with your cheat meals, and you have a little bit more freedom, because then it just becomes about maintenance rather than losing weight. But the reason why you want to include cheat meals while you're losing weight is because of diet fatigue. This is the same reason why you should include good foods that you enjoy eating on your diet to avoid diet fatigue. So once you start seeing consistent progress, just pick a day to have a cheat meal or something. Say you lost weight and it's been about 2 to 3 weeks, and you're starting to get a little bit fatigued with the diet, you're getting tired of the foods maybe, pick a day, like say like after the week's done, Friday, Saturday or something, go grab a burger. And if you do choose to have a much higher calorie cheat meal, so you end up having to go to Cheesecake Factory or something, God forbid, the highest calorie menu on the planet, all you got to do is just move some stuff around earlier in the day. You just got to eat less calories than what you've scheduled yourself to eat. Try your best to hit your protein in like the littlest amount of calories possible. And then once you get to dinner, then you can kind of just eat what you want, you know, because you've made room for it. It's just a give and a take. It's super simple. It's just some people don't think about things this way, and it honestly isn't taught to us. And then just some important notes that I want to cover. This is stuff that you really should not overlook. Slashing your calories. This is something that I would not recommend to somebody if you are a beginner. So what I mean by that is like going into a huge deficit right off the fucking rip because you want to lose weight really quick. This is not sustainable for most people. I'm able to do this because I have years and years of experience, and I know what works for me already. I know what foods keep me really full. I know what foods work for my diet. I know how long I can go without getting any sort of diet fatigue. This is stuff that you just kind of need to figure out over time. So this kind of also brings me into my next point. But if you're starting out, you kind of want to shoot for like 4 to 5 pounds per month lost. This is going to be around a 5 to 600 calorie deficit. And how this brings me into my next point is how long it actually takes to lose weight. So keeping that in mind, say you want to lose 20 pounds and you're losing 4 to 5 pounds a month, then you're looking at a 4 to 5 month time frame for that weight loss to get lean or get shredded. You want to be able to plan accordingly so you don't get to the beach in the summer and then all of a sudden you're not as lean as you wanted to be, and then you don't want to take your fucking shirt off anymore. Other thing that I really want to stress is stress and sleep. This is really going to dictate how you look. I will use this example that just happened to me and what I'm talking about. I got really, really sick in November, December this year, really bad bacterial infection. And it caused me to get really shitty sleep, really poor recovery. I was overdoing everything in the gym and I didn't know what was going on. And I was getting super, super stressed with work as well as my diet. And this was causing me to get really shitty pumps. My waist was all puffy. My face was all puffy. It still is a little bit inflamed. Water retention is going to be all messed up. Your mood's going to be all messed up. And again, you're just going to look really, really flat and soft. Your body's not going to look very aesthetic, even though you might be very lean. And the very last thing I want to mention is the actual physical body fat percentage that you're shooting for. You are not a bodybuilder. If you're watching this video, you don't give a fuck about bodybuilding. You just want to look good. So for the average person, they look very good around 10 to 12% body fat. That's when your muscles start to get more definition. You have like these striations on your body, as well as your cap delts, your chest is popping, your abs really, really start to show around here. And if they don't, then you just need more time in the gym. Like, I'm sorry, I overdid my first cut so much because I was just new to the gym. And when I was 10 to 12% body fat, you don't really look like the bodybuilders that are also 10 to 12% body fat because they have much more muscle mass on their body. If you're just starting, then you just don't have that much muscle mass. It just takes time to get to that area. But that is everything that I have for this video. I really hope it's helpful. If this is shit that you don't really give a fuck about doing and you just want somebody to do it for you, that's why I coach. I offer one-on-one coaching. I'll put a link in the description for a one-on-one coaching application. You go ahead and fill that out. And if you're serious about it, then maybe we could work together. It's everything I got in this video, and I hope that you guys are able to get shredded and get lean by spring break.